let's join our hands together to welcome the principal consultant and CEO of Leading Learning Limited, Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo. You are welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much. It's great to be here. I thank you all, first of all, honestly, for welcoming me here. It's an important day, very, very important day. So I, first of all, greet everybody for coming here. Of course, I wish the crowd were bigger, because this is a big book that deserves a big crowd. But we know that if we were doing a dance competition, the whole place will be full. If we were doing Miss Alausa, the whole place will be full. But we are launching a book, and it's not full. It tells you the priority of many people. But I am honored that you are here. I am pleased that you are here, because it shows that you know that this is important. And while I don't say we should not dance and so on, we should remember that we need to go to school. So you are welcome, and I know this will be a valuable occasion. I therefore greet everybody who is here. The protocol list was not given to me. I'm not great at protocol, but I must greet everybody on the high table. I especially greet the parents of the author. As a parent myself of adult children, you must be very proud of him. He could not have become what he is today if it's not for the work that you did. I congratulate you from the bottom of my heart. What he will do will exceed this 100 times. I greet the Seriki of Egbaland. It's good to have you here, sir. I greet my co-members on the high table. It's great for us to support this young man. Let me tell you about how I met him. On the 22nd of March, 2023, Sheriff BABATUNDE LAMIDI, whose number I did not have, an unknown number to me, sent me a message introducing himself, stating that we were friends on LinkedIn. Now, on my LinkedIn page, I have about 17,000 followers and friends. So, of course, I could not remember him specially, but it's all right. He informed me about a book that he had written, which he described as a guide for secondary school students and other students at tertiary institutions offering engineering, science, art, and management. He went further to state that the book will show them the numerous opportunities available in their career. He then went on to ask me if he could send the manuscript. And he asked me if I would read it. And I regretted a bit when I said, okay, send it, I will read it. I didn't know it was that long. But he sent it. And I answered him because I could see this was a serious person. Many people send unknown messages or unknown numbers to me. I tried to read as many as possible, but I could see that in the noise and cacophony surrounding me, this was a serious voice. So I said, let me have the book. It's in line with my wish to support anybody who wants to do anything great in education. He sent me the manuscript within one day, and I read it. I thought and still think it is a much needed and important book. However, at that time, I felt the editing was inadequate and kind of detracted, because I'm the kind of person who would read and look at your full stop, your comma, your capitals, your tenses, your grammar, your abbreviations. I mean, I'm a teacher, so I would always do that, no matter the subject. So I said, there are too many little things that are detracting from the quality of the book. I had no problem with the content. I just felt that it needed a top professional editor, and I asked him to get an editor. I asked him to come and see me, actually. Come and see me in my office. So he came to my office in Alausa on 29th of March, 6 days later. Told him my views that this is a good book, but you need to do a lot more work. He did not take offense. at my pointing out the flaws. Because, sometimes when you do this kind of work, it's dear to you. You know the amount of effort. And now somebody who did not write the book, who just read it, is now telling you this or that. But he took it very well. He was very humble about it. He took no offense. And he said that, because since I told him, the faults were not facts. It was grammar, spelling, punctuation, and so on. So he promised me he would get the book properly edited. Within a few days, he told me he had found a professor in Ibadan who would read over the manuscript and edit it. I'm so happy that that chance encounter has culminated in the publishing of the book and its launch today. And I want you to please give him a round of applause. I don't know where he is. And I want to say this to those of us who are older people. There is nothing greater than holding the hand of a young person. You may not gain financially from them. I'm not talking about money. We are saying that even their prayers for you will follow you all lifelong. So I want to encourage those of us who are older. When a young person comes to you to ask you for something, no matter your position, that position is temporary. Maybe I'm no longer commissioner. So it's temporary. You will leave that place. But see, the relationship I did not leave that place. The relationship continues to follow me. And I always appreciate that relationship. I will tell you a little story about that. And I'm talking to older people. On Saturday, my older daughter called me. She has a group of friends. She said they wanted to hear my life story. Because I have worked in many places. I was a banker. I worked in manufacturing. I've done this, done that. I'm on maybe 20 boards globally. I didn't write it all in the profile. So they said, what have you done? Tell us about yourself. So I took them through my life. Even personal things I would not tell anybody. But I did that because these are young ladies just getting married, just having families, just to show them that the ups and downs of life, and there are ups and downs in life. But if you have God following you along, you will see that at the end of the day, it will even out. That don't worry if you are in a low place now, you will rise. And if you're in a high place now, be careful, because you may fall. So I think for old people, I don't know how much that influenced them. But since that day, I've not rested on my WhatsApp. As they keep asking me, okay, when you did this, when you went to do that work, how did you know you could do it well? How did you attend an interview? I keep on answering them. Because these are young girls, I never can know what they will become. The first job I got in my life, my father taught a young man, a Hausa man, who's a Fulani boy, who came with this. I want Deranwala Sigi Kaduna. Wasi Benin. My dad was a teacher near Edo College, Benin. Ode read this boy en lo fa mora. Years later, emi omo akobi baba mi mo wase. I was an MBA student and I did an MBA in Unilag, and I was looking for a job. And my uncle, my mother's junior brother, sent me to the AGM personnel of UBA. And the man said, well, I respect your uncle, but I'm going to give you this job because of your father. Your father was my teacher at Edo College, Benin City. I was an illiterate Fulani herder's son. But he took me in, treated me well. And he told me, he said, never be unkind to young people. You never know what they will become. So that's I hope, an aside for those of us who are somewhat older. So Sheriff Lamidi sent me the manuscript, and I said I read it. And we agreed that he would edit it. He edited, and here we are today to launch that book. I'm sure somebody is coming to review the book, but I will still let you know why I think it's important. Number one, it addresses the major areas of career growth. You know, when I was growing up, the jobs you could do were doctor, lawyer, engineer, teacher. Abi, I had an uncle. His firstborn, he said, must be a doctor. He beat him and beat him and beat him. The boy had to read medicine. The day he finished medicine, he dropped the stethoscope and told the father, you can have it. Today, he's a musician. The second born, he beat him and beat him. He said, you have to be a lawyer. The guy is a lawyer, and a very good lawyer. The third born was a girl. My uncle did not care what she did, but she did, she did do pharmacy. And the fourth boy was to be an accountant so that he will help all the others to manage their money. Well, I don't know what the boy became, but he did not fulfill the father's ambition. Nowadays, there are many things you can do, isn't it? You must never, as an education, like I said, I didn't show my full profile, but I have been principal of like 4 schools. And for each one, I always used to tell parents, don't tell your child you have to be, because I'm a doctor, you have to be a doctor. What if he doesn't want to do it? I have a friend whose mother insisted she should run her school. My friend retired about 3 years ago, and one day she told me, I did not live a life I wanted. I did not live the life of my dreams. I lived the life of my mother's dream, and I have a serious sense of failure and disappointment. I'm sure you don't want that for your children, right? So there are many things that they can do, and this shows them the plethora, the large number of careers that exist. That's number one in secondary school. It shows them one of the most important career paths you can take, which is STEM or STEAM: science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. By the time someone combines or does any one of these, the person is likely to get a good career. Don't worry, medicine will still be there, but don't forget that its prestige has reduced. I too have a child who is a doctor. One day she called me and said, well, they have sacked she was training abroad. They have sacked all the doctors in her district except her. They are now using nurses for the job of doctors. And when they need something a bit more, they will tell her to come and do it. So being a doctor no longer means, oh, everything is going to go well for you. It all depends on what God has deposited in that child. So it's a very important book because it teaches them all the career paths that exist. And I will tell you about my daughter who read microbiology. I said, Madam, why are you reading microbiology? What job will you do when you finish? She said she sent me a spreadsheet with 130 careers in microbiology. I just kept quiet. I know down that she knows what she was talking about. And I left her to do the microbiology, and she's doing very well. During the time of COVID, she rose to her full prominence because COVID is a microorganism. So she was now doing research, writing papers, and so on. Whereas me, her mother, the only way I looked at microbiology was a biology teacher or something like that, you know, which is not bad. I'm a teacher. It's the greatest job in the world. Sorry to all other professions. It's the mother of all of you. The book also provides a direction for our students in tertiary institutions because it shows them that what they are doing and how they'll go out in the world and do better. You know, there are people who reckon that many of the jobs that are going to be available in, say, 2030 and above have not even been invented now. So how does a child now manage? And that's where this book is also important, because it doesn't just talk about the careers, it also talks about the skills that you need to maneuver. Because the jobs of the future will need flexibility, open-mindedness, deep knowledge about some things. It isn't going to ask, there are many jobs that are just going to become obsolete. Totally, nobody will need them anymore. And the people working in those jobs are already seeing that is becoming obsolete, and if not obsolete, has changed. Before, you needed a lawyer to draw up a will or to draw up something. Now go online, Google it, and you get a sample, and you use it. You don't need any lawyer for so many things anymore. So the profession of law is changing. It's not the age-old law. So it's telling our students many things about the skills they need. So it's a great book, and I urge all of us to look into it. I strongly recommend this book for students, for schools, for guidance counselors, for parents. When I was a principal, I had a parent who came to me and said, when my wife was pregnant, I knew this child was going to be an aeronautical engineer. I had to greet him for his vision, because I did not know that from pregnancy you can see aeronautical engineering. Needless to say, the boy was weak in maths. I said, no engineer can be weak in maths. This boy was very good with certain things. Computer, he could wire this whole place. He could set up computer systems. In fact, he hacked into the school's computer system. And when I called him, he told me he's a white hacker and a member of the White Hacking Association of the US. I said, which one is that? He said, we are good hackers. We will help an establishment by hacking so that they know what to do to prevent hacking. Which is, you know, when you work with boys, they are troublesome. So you know he's just trying to, you know. So I dealt with him properly. But apart from that, it's clear that, isn't it, that there is such a thing as white hacking. He was telling the truth. So I urge parents to, so that you understand the jobs that are available. Don't force your children into something. You know, one of the most difficult jobs to get, degrees to get a job for is business admin. I hope you know. When people come to me and say, I did business admin, it's very hard. You better go and recertify yourself and go and do something like project management or HR or something. But just I did BSc Biz Admin, nobody thinks you are skilled. And hardly anybody is going to employ you. So you've got to let people, you know, tell people that this is what is happening, you know. It's important to put it in libraries. It's important for employers of labor. So I hope a lot of us are going to buy this. And let me now just round up the chapters. There's a chapter on 21st century skills. There is no way our children can work in future if they do not have these skills, which include critical thinking and problem solving, which means that you must be somebody who is analytic, critical thinking, so that people don't throw things at you and you just accept. Critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration, because you can't work alone, you have to work with all sorts of people, so you have to be able to tolerate other people, whatever they are, whoever they are. You must be somebody who is creative because you have to find solutions for the new problems you are going to face. You must be somebody who understands digital literacy throughout. It's not for yahooing, but how you can use the power of technology to improve your own work. And other things, personal leadership. You have to understand that leadership is not position. Leadership is influence. And so how are you going to influence other people to do what you want them to do? So all these things are things that our children need. And he puts it there because whether you're an engineer or not, you need those skills. You know, you need the skill of public speaking. You need the skill of motivation. You need to be assertive. You need to be somebody who people are confident with, you know. So that's it. That chapter lists them, and it's a very important chapter because it's the preamble and tells you that no matter what you read, if you do not have these skills, you cannot work well in the workplace. The skill of emotional intelligence, which is greater than intelligence itself, in that you know how to manage and deal with other people and also manage your own personal expectations. So it talks about career paths, because don't forget, you have to let them know, if you take this path, this is how far you will go. But I have a bit of a twist on that, in that your first degree, I find, is I did zoology for my first degree. I don't think I've used it beyond youth corps and a year or so. What matters most is now you went to university, you have the connections, you have the reach, you have this, you went to tertiary institutions. It's what you do after that really matters. So when they draw up the career path, they are telling you can only go so far in this career, but I assure you, you can go beyond because you can pivot, you know, you can change by adding qualifications, by reading, by learning, and so on. Admission, which is another skill in that you must be a lifelong learner. You can't stop learning. No matter what you read, you cannot stop learning because you need to keep growing because things change. Then he has a whole chapter on admission requirements. It's the bulk of the book. And this is important. I have a young man who I'm working with now. He wanted to go to a university to read cyber security. And he did not know that chemistry is a requirement for cyber security in that university. He's today reading quantity surveying. But like I told him, quantity surveying is a good field. It will teach you many skills. You'll be an analytic type. You understand money management and so on. Use that skill and learn cybersecurity online. He talks about job opportunities. He lists so many places where you can work with each of the qualifications. And let me tell you something about job opportunities as well. I think you have to start thinking about helping them with micro-credentialing. I watched a young man on TikTok. They interviewed him and said, "Where did you graduate from?" He said, "Oh, Harvard." "Oh, Harvard. How much are you earning?" $250,000. After just 2 or 3 years of leaving school, he said, "No, I'm not earning income from my Harvard degree. When I finished, I did a 5-month micro-credentialing course on cryptocurrency. That's what I'm using to earn $250,000. My Harvard degree was paying me like $80,000. So we have to expand our horizon and think differently and think big. So yeah, there are many job opportunities, but it shows you can reinvent yourself. You don't have to limit yourself. Even as a teacher, I learned that I did a lot of things learning online. I've gone for many extra credentials, Coursera, edX, and so on. Just learning more and more and more so I can talk authoritatively anywhere. And now people regard me as an expert on education. But you can see I really spent my early years outside education. So it has a lot of online links as well, and then of course references. So I will say, ladies and gentlemen, we are at a very important event, something that has immense consequences for the long-term careers of these our young people. So I hope you are listening, because you did not come here to play. And to know that you have to be deliberate and intentional in picking the career that is unique to you as a human being, that plays to your strengths. And then when you do that, learn as much as possible. Go online. Don't be talking. I met one girl. "What do you want to be now?" She said, "Oh, I want to be a top gynecologist." I said, "Will you not have to do medicine first?" She said, "No." "No, you cannot be a gynecologist without going for MBBS. That is medicine. When you finish, you now specialize. So go and study. Study as much as possible." Doctors in other countries now use computer to make diagnosis. They just, even my own hospital here in Lagos, I'm amazed. The doctor is always pressing the computer. He's always, by the time they take my blood pressure, my temperature, and he's got it on his system. So you have to be digitally literate and all. So things have changed, and I hope you are learning it. So I think it's an important day. I thank everybody for coming. I hope that you soak in and enjoy the value of the day. I congratulate you once more. Sheriff Lamidi, the young man who was not fazed by anything, who contacted, even when I was his age, I could never have called the Commissioner for Education in my state. I would be too afraid. So I totally appreciate his courage, his capacity, the fact that he's somebody who is resilient and determined that no matter what, I'm going to, because I'm sure you didn't get my number easily. You sent messages, I didn't reply initially, before I replied one. So determined to persevere, even in the face of odds. And when he was told that you need to work more, he had the humility, the generosity of spirit, and the cleverness, the knowledge, the understanding to take that book, revise it, and come up with this excellent book that he has written. Congratulations.